Right guys, how you all doing? Hope you had a good Passover feast, because today, Tuesday, Wednesday will be like the 7th day of Passover, which will also be a Sabbath, a holy day, a holy convocation, on which no service work should be done. So yeah, and it's really been good this year. I mean, usually a lot of the years it's me trying to teach people about how wrong Easter is. Of course, it's Satan's counterfeit to the Passover. He's made a whole empire of a fake Christianity, so he's counterfeited Passover feast with Easter feast. Of course, the days are mixed up and everything else. Trying to explain to people, but it's like common sense, Easter, even they got Palm Day on a Sunday, which which is the 10th of Abib, 10th of Nisan. So even by their own, timings, that the crucifixion, the death of Jesus, should be on a Thursday, then the 14th day, which is not. They say Friday because they're stupid, because they think that Jesus was crucified the day before Saturday. Suddenly the Sabbath and the holy day of God is Saturday when it comes to Easter. But take it next week, and then Sunday will be, it's the holy day and all this crap. And at the end of the day, Jesus wasn't resurrected on Sunday because it was Sunday. He was resurrected then because it was, 3.5 days after he was crucified, on the preparation day of Passover. It's got nothing to do with Sunday. I mean, if the Passover preparation day wasn't Wednesday, maybe it was, I don't know, Thursday, Friday, maybe it fell on a Saturday, let's say. If he was killed and crucified on a Saturday, then, he would have rose from the dead on like Wednesday. Do you know what I mean? It had nothing to do with Sunday, but Satan has created, his empire and his sun worshipping Babylonian Christianity, fake Christianity, he has built around it all. But this year, anyway, they've seen a lot of people, preaching about this. Usually I feel like it's just me banging my head against the wall, trying to teach people how wrong Easter is and the true Passover. And, I always post about it. But this year, I mean, I've been adding a lot of people on Facebook, but even on Twitter and everything else. I mean, it just seems like there's been a good awakening, people coming all out and trying to preach. But here's the other thing as well, is that it fell Passover fell on the exact same day as it did during the crucifixion. All right, he raised from the dead on Sunday morning ish, between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning. All right, and then you go back 3.5 days. 3.5 days God resurrects people, because it's half of 7. All right, he resurrected Lazarus from the dead 3.5 days after he was dead. He was found dead in the morning. He was resurrected in the evening, but it was the 4th day in the tomb. Jesus Christ was killed a couple of hours before the close of the first day, when the sun goes down. It's the finish of the day. A couple of hours before he died. 3.5 days later, he resurrected, which would actually bring it into the 5th day. So yeah, just teaching people the truth about it. And it fell on the exact same day this year, which is, amazing. So, he was crucified on the Wednesday, and he died late that evening, and he rose early on a Sunday, because Sunday would have began actually Saturday sundown. So that's when the Sunday begins. And that's when it all started as well, according to Pontius Pilate. It was into the first day of the week. So it was into Sunday, as they knew it. So, it all fell quite well this year. And like I say, the 7th day of the Passover is also a holy Sabbath day, a rest day. And that is tomorrow, Wednesday. because Thursday was the first day of the Passover, from Wednesday evening until Thursday evening. So the 7th day is from Tuesday evening till Wednesday evening, sundown. So yeah, I just hope you all had a good Passover. But now it's like a watch period now, really, because the next main thing in the calendar is that the coronation, the change of the person who sits on the throne of David in London. The throne of David in London is changing, and Charles, of course, is the first legally in. But like I've been preaching for 10 years now, or, you know, that's when I made my videos about King William, the firstborn to the Virgin. The firstborn to the Virgin Isis is Horus, who will be the one-eyed Antichrist. The El Masih Dajjal, which will be the one who sits at the top of the pyramid. But everything's really in place for him to take the throne. But of course, until it actually happens, like I made prophecy, I made article, images, and everything else, that when the young prince is crowned king, then this is actually seal 1. Of the events. So, but until he's actually crowned king, then seal 1 can't happen. So it's a case of, are they gonna is Charles gonna advocate the throne now and give it up to William, and then seal 1 will be like May 6th, full moon? Or is this an event that's gonna happen later? Maybe Charles will take the throne, and then later on they'll just get rid of him when it's time for seal 1 to happen. We'll just have to wait and see and be ready now, because they could flip it at any time. They might try and pull a fast one on me. They might try and pull a fast one and get him in like quick. You know what I mean? They might say, "Oh, Charles is sick. We didn't know about it," or worse. And then they could just get William in and say, "Oh, everything's set up. Like, oh, it doesn't matter. Let's just get William in." You know what I mean? Because there isn't really any difference between crowning Charles and crowning William. Might have to sign something before he's crowned, but it's the same thing. Do you know what I mean? So this is a watch period now, and of course the coronation is like a moon phase away, kind of just less than that now, 3 weeks away from now. So it's definitely a high watch period for me. And so, you know, if William is to be crowned king, then that is seal 1. And literally, like I've always said, 40 to 30 days. Well, if you go from May 6th, which is a full moon, to June 5th, whatever it is, 4th, to the full moon, then that would be 1 month. And you know, all them seals can happen in that 1 month, and then the throne of God can hit the earth, because the throne of God will hit the earth on a full moon, because it says the sun is darkened and the moon becomes like blood. Obviously, a full moon can only become like blood. A new moon can't become blood red because there's no light to the moon. So the full moon will become like blood. So the throne passes on a full moon, and then you've got this coronation set up now for May 6th, which is a full moon, pretty much the day before. So yeah, it's a definitely high watch period, and let's just see what happens. There's only 2 options. One, if they decide to flip it and get William in, boom, they've got to be ready to go. This is it. Start of the tribulation, if you like, the start of the seals. They go through, they'll make the 7-year deal, and the throne of God will hit, like I said, 1 month later on a full moon, which would be June. That's the other option. Or 2, you know, if they're not ready, if the seals are not ready to happen yet, then they may just put Charles in as king, and then later on, but it won't be much later on, because, you know, we're running out of years and stuff for this tribulation to happen. So, like I say, everything is in place. There's a couple of other things, but then there's like William's 40 years old, and the Talmud Messiah comes, the Antichrist, the Talmudic Messiah comes after 40 years. He's 40 years old, you know. It just everything seems like we're on the brink, you know. 6 and something years until 2029, where Jupiter the King returns to Virgo, Israel. So there's just, everything's pointing to the seal 1 happening now and everything beginning. So just keep watch, yeah. So there's 2 options. If they crown him king, pull a fast one, then seal 1 happens, May 6th. Then 1 month later, the throne of God's going to be here. Get ready, repent of your sins. 144,000 flee into the wilderness with your Exodus kit. It's about as simple as that. But you'll see the seals. You'll see war outbreak. You'll see the market collapse. You'll see the Dome of the Rock being destroyed off the Temple Mount to make way for God's temple to be built. By the Jews. And we just seem to be in the time as well where seal 2 is just so close. I mean, seal 3, market collapse, we have the birth pains of that happening as well, and it's overdue. But then you have this seal number 2, war outbreak from Israel. It is just so tense, and everything's just going off in Israel right now. I mean, we have Ramadan overlapping with Passover, and you know, people giving out threats and that. There's been clashes on the Temple Mount. There's been police and everything else. But then you have the wars between, you know, Israel had been bombing Syria, retaliation. They accidentally killed an Iranian general, and Iran have sort of beefed themselves up a bit about that. And then you have, was it Lebanon, which just recently just hit Israel with a bombardment of rockets, which, you know, is not common. So on the war front, the protests have been going on for weeks, months even, in the streets of Israel, and you know, it just all seems to be going off. And I've always said that, you know, Bible prophecy will be in your face. It's even be on the mainstream media, which it has. A couple of weeks ago, Israel was on the mainstream media when I was in hospital. I was watching it, and it's because of the protests. All right, the mainstream media, bang. It was on the TV last night. Them 2 girls, them 2 British sisters, which died in Israel during some sort of like shooting, or then there was a terrorist attack. There was another one with someone drove a car into a load of people, and you know, the sisters died, and then I believe that the mother has died as well now because of her injuries. And so it's just all going off in Israel. You know, birth pains of seal 2. War outbreak from Israel. So we're in that season, do you get me? It's not just a few little things or what I think might happen, do you know what I mean? Seal 2 is literally on the brink. Seal 1, the Antichrist being crowned, well, the throne of David's going to get overtaken in May 6th. It just feels like all these birth pains. And the only difference is that, you know, it's not William who's going to be taking the throne. It's Charles. So, you know, just keep watch. You'll see him North America taken down by North Korea. And then the cry will go up to God then for his help. And then he'll hit us on the 6th seal. You know, he'll flip the world upside down. Isaiah 24. Every mountain and island is going to be removed from its place. The government are going to run to their underground facilities. And possibly they would have triggered nuclear World War III by now, or tried to trigger nuclear World War III by now, which you can see the birth pains of that happening too. And when they're in their bunkers, the 4 angels, which will be given the first 4 trumpets are there, and the angel comes up from the east and he seals us, 144,000, on our foreheads. With the seal of God, which could very well be the Star of David, because, you know, I've already got one on my forehead. In a certain light you can see it's like the Star of David on my forehead there. And so he seals the 144,000. They'll survive the passing. They have to survive. So unless no 144,000 come from the east coast of America, they'll all have to flee into the Appalachian Mountains. Okay, and and when they're there, the great multitude is caught up to the throne, and they have been saved. So all the young, all the kids under the age of bar mitzvah, 2 billion of them, and then how many other billion want to be saved themselves by asking God's forgiveness, are washed white in the blood of Jesus Christ. They'll all be caught up to the throne and saved, and they're celebrating, and everything else. Seventh seal happens, and there's silence, and then the throne of God locks off of earth, and there's massive voices and thunders and lightnings and a massive earthquake. And then the trumpets, obviously we pass through the tail of the throne and we get pelted with fiery hail mixed with blood. Trumpet number 2, La Palma volcano collapses in the sea, sends a mega tsunami across the Atlantic, washes away the east coast of America and all the other bordering countries of the Atlantic Ocean. Seal number 3, the return of the Black Death comet asteroid. Trumpet number 4, the sun goes out for 3 days and 3 nights. And trumpet number 5, Yellowstone, the bottomless pit is opened, and the sun and the air is darkened from the smoke, and the locusts come out and they sting the people who are not the 144,000, because they can see the supernatural sign on their forehead. So they don't touch the 144,000, but they torment the people with a sting of a scorpion for 5 months. And then that's why I believe that Nebuchadnezzar will make his sort of transit around the sun, come back again, because it's a 5-month transit, orbit, whatever you want to call it, around the sun. And then back again, and then he blows the 6th trumpet, and then nuclear World War III, Holocaust, whatever you want to call it. 4 of the fallen angels come out of the river Euphrates. They go out to 4 world leaders, 4 world empires that can take on the New World Order, if you like Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran. And they muster up an army of 200 million men. All armed with nuclear missiles on the back of trucks and tanks. And it says they destroy a third of mankind, and it takes them 13 months, an hour and a day and a month and a year. So that's like a year and a half of trumpet judgments right there, and so on. But the seventh trumpet is delayed until the time of the end. And then that's where the two witnesses come for 3.5 years. Bringing the plagues of God that were given to Moses and were given to Elijah. Preaching for 3.5 years. When they're finished, the second passing of the throne happens. They ascend. The seventh trumpet sounds, which means it's the last trump rapture. So, and Jesus comes with the sickle, and he reaps the dead, and the angel comes with him with a sickle, and he reaps the still alive. And then when all that's done and 144,000 are caught up, the two witnesses, the dead and the living are caught up, then the temple is opened, the 7 angels are given 7 bowl judgments, which is the third woe. They pour them out upon the earth. That lasts until Armageddon. He literally turns earth into hell on earth. The Antichrist's 3.5 year reign and the false prophet is over. They gather themselves together at Armageddon, and the dragon, Obama, William the Antichrist, and Francis, the last pope, the false prophet. Gather at Armageddon, and 45 days later, after them two witnesses were killed, Jesus Christ will descend like he ascended, and he'll come down and defeat them at Armageddon, purify the earth, put his feet on the ground, and will rule the world 1,000 years. God bless you all. I've been Pastor Prophet Justin Roberts from End of the Age Bible Prophecy. God bless you all. Amen.